Communications. How are you?
Good. What kind of a dog?
Oh God, he's a nasty dog. No, no, he's really cute and really sweet, but he's very, very protective of me. So he's part Schnauzer and part Cairn Terrier. So
Oh,
he's like a gold Schnauzer.
wow.
Yeah. Do you have any dogs or cats?
No, we were potentially looking at getting one for my stepdaughter and maybe training it as a service dog. Um, but we're not quite sure where we've kind of got our eye on a little puppy right now.
Aw.
A Shih Tzu. I went out to Shawana, Indiana, where the dog breeder is.
Ship Shawana for a Shih Tzu.
Right, exactly.
Okay, this is
Um,
not being edited out. Like, there's no way that I'm editing out Shawana for a Shih Tzu. I don't care what
right,
I have to do to stand in here. So we are officially live.
nice. But it was really kind of cool. Shipshewana, Indiana, is a very Amish town, so you get to see all the Amish people, horse and carriages, and everything like that. And the thing that I thought was unique, and I don't want this to come across the wrong way or whatever, but what I thought was unique was obviously they don't do a lot with any kind of like mechanical type things. So I saw a lot of people out cutting grass with those old lawnmowers, the hand push ones,
Mm-hmm.
but it was all females, like out there in the dresses and stuff like that. And I just thought it was so phenomenal to see women, again, not saying women don't cut
Yeah,
grass.
yeah, yeah. No, I get
It
it.
was just the neatest thing to see that, everybody kicks in and, but it was a neat experience to go see this little puppy. So
Aw. So, and did you get the puppy?
not yet.
Oh,
Not yet. It's still too young, but we saw it online. I just wanted to go out and make sure it
check
was
it out.
real for
Yeah,
sure for
yeah,
first, and
that's
then
true.
just check the little dog out too.
You
So
don't want to get catfished over a puppy.
right, exactly. That was good, Joanne. That was really good.
I try. At least once. One,
Right.
I give myself one a day. You're the lucky one today.
Woohoo!
So I noticed you've got the Star Trek Enterprise, uh,
Yeah,
uh,
the bridge
the
background.
bridge. Now, which one is it? Is it a Picard or is it?
That's Next Generation. Yes, I am a star. Well, I'm a sci-fi nerd, but I love Star Trek and Star Wars. So I got my Star Trek mug here.
I wish. So my office got flooded a couple weeks ago, which is why
Oh,
I'm been relegated to this spare room right now.
mhm.
And I wish I was there because on the bookshelf behind me I have like a Spock and
Nice.
I think who else do I have? I can't remember. Maybe I just have Spock. I have
Mhm.
Spock and I have Tweety Bird.
My stepdaughter bought this one for me.
Oh, I love
Little,
it.
little baby Yoda.
Yoda. See, we can geek out over this the whole time. Wait,
Oh,
didn't you notice the picture of me on
I
my
did.
bulletin board, the
I
Star Trek?
did.
There you go.
I did. I'm so observant. So yeah,
Yes.
I'm
Oh, I
showing my
remember that.
I'm showing my inner nerdness right now.
Yes, that was I believe that was on a trip to Vegas for some trade show or conference, and
Mhm.
the whole marketing team went and did this whole. It was a whole Star Trek replica.
Oh,
It was awesome. And then one of the
I
things
would have
was
loved
to
it.
take the picture. And I remember my manager at the time, he said, I don't care, everybody get your pictures taken.
Nice.
And at the time, I was young, I had no money. I couldn't afford to do anything like that.
Right.
But no, he did it for everybody. And we all got our pictures. And
That's
that
nice.
was awesome.
That is
It was
fantastic.
awesome. I love it. So what's going on with Joe these days?
A little bit of everything. Just trying to keep ingrained in what's going on in the industry. Doing some side stuff too, helping my wife out. She has a tax and accounting business, and it has just been insane for her
Wow.
with everybody here in the United States when they extended the tax season
Mm-hmm.
because of COVID, and everybody's like, oh, you get extra time, but boy, it made it even worse. So there was the extra time, but the phone calls and the inquiries and everything, it was
Oh, for sure.
It was crazy.
For
So
sure. Wow.
I'm learning more about taxes and accounting than I ever would in my life.
Well, now when you talk about software integrations with accounting systems, you'll know what you're talking about, right?
Exactly. You know,
There
somebody
you
brings
go.
up QuickBooks and it's like, oh yeah, I was in that today.
QuickBooks. What's the other one? Avalara. Is
Sage is
ACPAC,
another big one.
Sage, was ACPAC bought out, or are they still, now I'm dating myself. What else is new?
I've never heard of that one. I don't
Oh,
know.
you never heard of ACPAC? So
No.
there's ACPAC, Intuit, I think was another one. Maybe these are Canadian ones. Maybe that's why you didn't hear them. I don't know.
Intuit I know is QuickBooks, or
Oh,
at
okay.
least
Yeah.
they
And then
know.
there's FreshBooks, which
Yep, FreshBooks I'm familiar with.
I love. That's what I've been using.
Mhm.
No plugs or anything. But if FreshBooks happens to be listening and wants to comp me my subscription, I'll take it.
Why not? Why not?
I doubt it. So Joe, tell me a little bit about Press Chat. How did that get started? Hashtag Press Chat. That's whenever I talk. So just say I talk to people all the time about it when I'm talking, and I was like, so am I going to see you on Press Chat? And they're like, what? Come out to Press Chat. Just do hashtag Press Chat on LinkedIn. You'll find it. Go.
Right. And I've had a number of people who I converse with, and I say, you really got to, you give it a try. And they're like, well, I've gotten emails, but I'm just not sure. And I'm like, watch some of the past episodes. It really is, an awesome part of Wednesday. And I hear so many people that are saying, they can't wait. You even said today, counting down to it. One of my favorite comments was, and I can't remember who said it, but it's like their therapy session. And that's what it kind of
I think we've all said that at some point.
But it grew out of, right after COVID came out. I was still making sales calls, but they weren't, sales calls. It was really more of a, hey, how's it going? Just checking in on you. I've been in the industry for 34 years, and, I have a concern for everybody. That's just kind of my nature. So I just wanted to keep calling up and, checking on the status of people and their businesses and how things were going, and just talk to them. And I would talk to, person A, and they would say, well, here's my challenge this week. This is what I'm running into. My paper company isn't shipping me paper this week, or, something along that line. And then I talked to person B, who was saying, my paper company wasn't shipping me paper, but here's what I ended up doing to, get through it. As I'm going through, I'm thinking, I'm going back and I'm talking to person A saying, hey, person B said this. And I'm thinking, why should I be the middleman? So I thought, well, the Zoom thing is picking up or whatever. Let's just, sit down with a cup of coffee. And one of the guys who I initially pitched the idea to said, well, can I bring bourbon instead? And I said, whatever you want to do, that's fine. So I thought, I'll go for broke and let's just have this weekly meeting of printers or people in the printing industry, and talk about what's ailing you, what are your challenges, or what are your successes even too. A lot of us have had challenges, but a lot of us have also had successes. So my first meeting, there were 3 people in it, and I'm like, maybe this was a bad idea, but I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. And, each week it has grown and grown and grown. And now it's, a lot of these people I've never met face to face other than Zoom now, but I feel so close and intimate with everybody who's on the call. It's like we're best friends. We come into the Zoom call, we can talk about anything, and we have, and everything. And like I said, it's at some point, one of the guys said, this is kind of a therapy session for me. And, people come in discouraged. Like I had one guy who said, I don't even know where the industry is going to go. And I said, well, come in. There's a lot of people talking how positive things are going, where they're at and how they're moving forward with this, or they have this idea. And he came away and he goes, thank you so much for inviting me to this. I walked away with a different perspective and some great ideas. So it really is just it's for my love of the printing industry, just a way to, give back and serve. And again, all of us to get together and just shoot the
shit. I can say it.
Like what we're doing here.
Exactly. exactly.
But again, it's, you know, we've even talked about the potential when COVID goes away of having some sort of, you know, face-to-face get-together, whether it be at a
That would be
trade show
awesome.
or whatever, even if we're getting together for drinks or dinner or something like that, just to see everybody, you know.
I think there's going to be a lot of that going on when this is all over. I think that's awesome.
But
So
yeah, go
tell
ahead.
me a little bit about the clown.
And the scary part is I think I know who it
I think
was.
I know who it was too,
Uh,
based on some comments that were made before and after about a certain person. Am I right? A certain person who was invited?
yes.
Yes. Okay. So we read the same comments. It's the same person, but
It was a little weird. We were in the Zoom meeting, and all of a sudden, you know, this person, you couldn't see their video through, you know, the first 10 minutes or whatever. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. You see like a ceiling or whatever, and next thing I know, there's somebody with this clown mask on, just kind of going back and
yeah, it
forth.
was so freaky. And it would be like, you know, when you have the light behind you, so you get that dark silhouette, and everybody says when you're on Zoom, make sure there's no windows behind you because you have
Right.
the dark. Well, that person was clearly sitting in front, because all you saw was this dark silhouette, and then you would see this like clown hair, and it would just be like coming down, and then like, whoop, there they'd be, and I'd be like, ah!
And then they'd come off, and there was another. You know, I was trying to monitor it, but also trying to pay attention to what was going on. There was some other mask or some other thing that came on, or it was just
It changed, right?
yeah,
Like a wardrobe change.
it was getting really strange. I was waiting for a malfunction, so at that point, Kelly said, Kelly Malazi goes, "Oh my gosh, this clown is just freaking me out." So I thought, you know what? Let's not distract anything here.
I kept hearing her mutter under her breath, like, I'm going to have nightmares tonight. I don't know if I'm able to. And that's all I hear. Like, everyone's talking, and I'm hearing her, oh, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
We should figure out how to break. Like next Zoom meeting, I should do a separate camera and just put like a little clown in front of it or something like that, and have it sit there, you know, just to mess with Kelly or whatever.
Oh, my goodness. That's too funny.
Or set up a Zoom camera with, you know, this guy.
Yeah. How many other bobbleheads do you have there, Joe? Show us your collection.
Oh, I've got a lot more at home, but and this is my stepdaughter who does this, but you know, I've got.
I have a Tasmanian Devil, but mine's one of those. Remember those cush balls that were like the squish? What were they called? Scoosh or whatever. They're like little plastic, almost like porcupines.
Yep.
I have a Tasmanian Devil, a Tweety bird. What else you got there?
That was pretty much it.
Okay.
Except I do have. She bought me I've got more at home. There's just not enough room at my desk. She actually has a collection. She collects the top things. I think last count, she had somewhere upwards of like 80 or 90 of them.
Oh, wow.
But she'll see stuff in the store and she'll go, "You have to buy that." I just, you know, no, you have to buy that. And I know I've got them all over the place. She doesn't give me a choice.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Joe. So here's my question. How have business conversations changed over the last 2 weeks?
You know, that's a good question. At first, you know, when you brought that up to me, I'm thinking, well, they really haven't.
That's
per se. But the more I get into it, the more I think about it, it's not so much the conversations that have changed. There was a while there where I could pick up the phone. So prior to COVID, you pick up the phone as a salesperson, and most of my conversations are over the phone. So I pick up the phone and I leave a voicemail. I pick up the phone and leave a voicemail. Then once COVID hit, I pick up the phone and somebody would answer. And I would talk. And again, that's how print chat eventually
novel concept.
eventually came out. But people, you know, I'd have somebody go, "Well, you know, you were the first phone call of the day or the only phone call of the day." So we had some great conversations, just, you know, relationship building conversations. In the last couple of weeks, though, it's kind of gone back to a lot of voicemails. So I'm beginning to think that, you know, just off the top of my head, that, you know, print is coming back. You know, the businesses are coming back, and people are getting busy coming into things, and you know, that's wonderful. There's still the conversations that I have. There's still a lot of trepidation and fear of the unknown. Here in the United States, I don't know what it's like up in Canada, but here in the United States, we're starting to trend back up in a lot of places again. Schools are coming back in now, and in my area, we're hearing how some of the schools actually have, as they've come back, have actually started to trend more cases in the schools themselves, which uh, you know I think it was coming. We all knew it was coming, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, a lot of I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. But there's also a lot of positiveness too. We've got people that are coming in and purchasing our software, saying, you know what, this is something I've needed to do for years, whether it's brand new or whether it's switching because they're unhappy with where they're at. Um, and even though business hasn't 100% come back now's a good time to do it because we know business is going to come back, and we've got the downtime to really take advantage of it. So I think there's um, a lot of smart thinkers out there that are utilizing this time to build up their businesses to prepare for when business comes back. We've got all our ducks in a row. We've got everything in place, and we're ready to really rock it. Um, so I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been saying the same thing, and the conversations I've been having too are the same. It's like, for the longest time, every 2 weeks, the conversations had shifted. And now, I don't know whether it is because of the back to school and summer's over and September's here, or we're hitting the 6-month mark, but suddenly it's like, okay, it's time. Vacation is over. Not that this was a vacation by any stretch of the imagination, but it's now or never kind of thing. You're either in it or you decide that's it. I'm just gonna lay down, because if you don't, there's no point now. We're past that point of no return. Right. And my question is how many companies, and you seem to allude that there are more and more, but how many are using this as an opportunity, not just to clean up house, so to speak, but to really dig into their overall processes and look for ways to improve how they do what they do today. It's not even so much about doing new things or looking for new business. It's how can we take what we're doing today and streamline it or automate it or make it better or reduce the errors or whatever is a roadblock to customer satisfaction.
And I think that's a great point. And I don't think that, just from my conversations, I don't think that there are enough business printers out there that are really looking at the processes that are in place and reevaluating them. Initially it was in shock mode when COVID hit, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, we got nothing. We're laying off employees. We're trying to do what little, some places actually closed down. We're doing what we can to, with as little or as few people, to produce what's in house. And I think all that just for many, I think all of that just overwhelmed everybody, and they're not quite in that frame of mind yet of, hey, one, we have to have not only just processes in place, but some sort of, we all got caught with our pants down. So some sort of disaster recovery program in place. It doesn't matter the size of the company. You could be a one-person print, broker, print shop, or the largest printers out there. You have to have some sort of disaster recovery program in place. So look at, hey, if this happens again or something similar happens, like poor people down in Florida are going to get, or down in the Gulf Coast are going to get hit with potential 2 tropical storms or hurricanes.
Oh, I know. That's awful.
Yeah, so what are you going to do? We're out in California. There's wildfires everywhere. I had a friend who just posted he might get evacuated soon. So the state is burning. And I was talking with one of my coworkers. I guess there's some fires up in Canada too, that are raging. So, you've got to look at some sort of disaster recovery. What are you going to do if something major happens again? There's always going to be an asteroid that's coming close to the planet or whatever. But then, yeah, the processes that are in place, just because you did it this way before doesn't mean, now that things are coming back, you're going to do it that way again. You have to look at, in some instances, you're running with a much leaner workforce. So can we look at one, who are we bringing back? Um, you know, uh, Warren has said a number of times, get rid of the dead wood. And, I'm not advocating ever, letting people go unless, are they worth it? Are they worth coming back? Can we do more with less, or can we implement systems like, Docket Manager, where, they can work as like a full-time employee. They can, I don't want to say replace an employee, but you can repurpose an employee, because the systems that you're putting in place with a program like that can, really,
Mhm.
you know, replace an employee, can really, do something like that. So I think it's something that really needs to be evaluated by people a lot more. What are my systems? What am I doing? How's my workflow working? Can I do better with less? Do I need to bring more people back?
Yeah, and how to optimize the resources you have. Maybe you've got somebody in as a CSR who would make a kick-ass pre-press person, and you don't really know that until you really look at all the resources you have. I mean, human resources and marketing resources are clearly not one and the same, but in some ways they should be regarded similarly. Like I'm always about repurpose. You're going to invest in a piece of content, or you're going to invest in a headcount, or you're going to invest in a piece of equipment or software. Whatever you're going to invest in, how are you going to measure its success? What will it take? What's your business plan for whatever that is, whether it's a person, a piece of equipment, a piece of software? What's the business plan to recoup and hopefully make money? And what does that look like? And what does your business need to do to make that happen?
One of the things you just said there is a thing that I think a lot of people often forget about. They put these programs or these processes in place, whether it be marketing, whether it be sales or whatever, and they forget that you got to measure it.
Yeah.
How do you know what's successful if you're not measuring it? So you said measure, and that's one of those lights that go off in my head. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Put some sort of goals, smart goals in place where you can go back and measure. Okay, I'm trying this. This worked, or this didn't work. How can we replicate what worked? How can we change what didn't work? And then also, you mentioned about utilizing your staff, maybe differently or whatever. We've all talked about in press chat, how business is going to be different, very different. What you're selling yesterday, you're not necessarily going to sell today.
Or to the same people.
Exactly. So why not, if you've got a staff of people there, they all have very different experiences once they leave, work. Sit down and talk to them and have a brainstorming session and say, hey, what are you guys seeing out there? What are you experiencing that we as printers can now, you've got your point of view, everybody else has theirs. So how can we do a little bit better? Grab the team together, and somebody says, well, listen, there's a hair place, that I go to that the poor lady's struggling because people don't know she's open. Well, boom.
Yeah.
What can we do to help out that hair place or whatever? So talk to your employees and really brainstorm with them to see, what really now it's printers need to be problem solvers, not necessarily putting ink on paper anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. I like what you said about look around. I mean, I often say, everyone's talking about buying locally and supporting local businesses. And I think we as an industry of communicators have an opportunity to talk to the businesses in our neighborhood and find ways that we can help them all. Can we get a group together and produce something that they can all use? Even if it's floor graphics, which everybody has been doing the floor graphics, but now it's time to maybe redo them replace them. They're worn out, or it's a new season, it's back to school. So imagine if you have 5 businesses with the same floor graphic, but the floor graphic advertises each of those 5 businesses within the floor graphic. So they can all use the same one, all chip in, and they've each got a little piece of the pie. Or, you know, I think IKEA's been doing this brilliantly for decades. They have been hurting people very strategically through their stores using nothing but floor graphics, wall graphics, and hanging signs. And they managed to get everybody through every nook and cranny of that store. And that's what we are doing today.
Right.
And what started off as communicating, you know, COVID and safety messaging has now, as still the same purpose, but has now transitioned a little bit into broader opportunities for marketing real estate, for advertising real estate.
Exactly.
Why not?
Exactly. And I love your idea about, you know, sharing the you know, the graphics or whatever, sharing the piece. And another thing, and, you know, little tiny commercial for Press Chat and some of the ideas that have come out of it. I think it was Kelly Malazio at one point said, you know, you made a comment about how, you know, it's the window graphics getting old, the floor graphics getting, you know, a little beat up. You know, one of the great ideas that I think a couple people have flown with is a subscription.
Sure.
For, you know, window graphics or floor graphics or whatever, where you say, hey, you're just going to pay X amount per month, you know, to the print shop. And during that month, you get a new window graphic or floor graphic or whatever each month. So you can swap it out. You don't have to, you can.
Yeah.
But you got that subscription. And I, you know, when that came up, I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, it's like those FabFitFun boxes, right? You can
Yeah.
choose, you can either choose just send me something, or you can pick and choose what goes in it, depending how frequently you get it, whether it's monthly, quarterly, whatever. I mean, there's so many ways to, and what's cool about it is we don't ever, ever, ever need to use the word print.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we should.
Right.
We're selling your subscription to your COVID box, or to your safety signage, or to your seasonal floor graphics, or whatever it happens to be. Do you want to take that and package that and provide that to your customers? There's so many ways that you can, again, repurpose one thing and make it work in so many different ways.
And I've said it before too. And I think another big thing that really can be utilized, and again, I go back to, you know, referencing my wife and her tax business. So we're going through some training on tax resolution this week, and she signed up for this big program. And it's a guy who, you know, used to just hold little training sessions here and there. And now, because of COVID, he's doing it, you know, virtually online. So his audience has grown. But, you know, you set up you know, she registered for it, got this beautiful box in the mail yesterday. You know, it had a hat on with embroidery. It had packages of jelly beans with, you know, his, you know, logo and everything on it, and the books and the manuals, and just there were even these you know, his face on a little stick, so, you know, you could hold it up in front of you and just, you know, look at those opportunities.
Oh my God, there's just so many now. And this is actually a good segue, because I had another question for you, and now you've done it for me. Is you know, you think of all the money that exhibitors spend on the trade show floor, and with all the events going virtual, there's a huge opportunity to change how we participate in events and what that expectation was. So whereas before we all knew how to work we hope we knew how to work a trade show booth, right? And your printed collateral was your, you know, your sort of lost leader to some degree. You know, you would hand it out, you never knew if it was going to be taken home or thrown out in the garbage or whatever, but you needed to have it there. Mm-hmm. But the whole purpose of being at a booth was for that live interaction, face to face, the handshaking, the hugging, catching up, whatever.
Mhm.
Now everything is digital, and we're still having face to face, but we're missing that tangible experience. So now print, instead of being that lost leader, is now that one element that ties the whole event and makes it tangible. So the companies that are spending a little bit more money to create an experience for the people they want to come to their booth,
Mhm.
and make it appealing. For now you're at this virtual show, you don't know what to expect. Why should somebody go to your booth? It's not because you're screaming and yelling the loudest anymore.
Mhm.
What's going to be the draw? So get to them before they log in and make them want to join in on the fun and get to your booth and get to the party and get to wherever they need to be, and have the lanyard, have some of the old world experience that we had anyways. You don't need another, but put the lanyard on, and the bag and the t-shirt, and be part of it. I don't know. That's what I think. So
No,
again, my question to you is going to be,
yeah.
so I'm not going to get to see you on the trade show floor this year, which is usually where we get to connect once a year. And so what are you guys doing? How are you making up for the loss of that trade show audience?
I actually uh, spoke with some of my colleagues today, even in a sales meeting, and I asked. I know Printing United is looking at doing some sort of virtual trade show or whatever, and he said he was in conversation with them yesterday, trying to figure out. They're still trying to work out the logistics of everything. So that's one thing we've stepped up. Our online marketing a bit. So, there's a lot of, social networks we're marketing more with. We're doing a couple online publications out there too. So we've really kind of stepped up our online presence, redesigned our website. Um,
Let's
you
check
know,
that out.
Most definitely docketmanager.ca, or I think now we actually even went docketmanager.com. So not just
Ooh, I will definitely check that out. You're
Docket
going to
Manager.
have to confirm with me whether it's .ca or .com.
Well, it's actually both. It's actually
Oh,
both.
okay.
So you can do both now too.
Even better.
Um, so we're doing a lot of uh, just, and again, with press chat out there, it's more about getting the word out. So when people um, you know say I'm looking for an MIS, boom, Docket Manager kind of comes into play. So more brand recognition, I think, is what we're doing just virtually, which
Hmm.
everybody needs to be doing. At this
Absolutely.
point now.
So
And
tell me about your LinkedIn experience over COVID. How has it changed?
for me, I was a very, very early adopter of social networks and interacting through social networks. Boy, I wrote early on. I wrote a couple articles for printers, doing social media marketing for Quick Print magazine a long time ago when I had a little bit more hair. Um, but uh, the sad thing is you get busy and all of a sudden you realize, holy cow, I haven't looked at LinkedIn or gone to any of my social networks in a day or two. I think what COVID did is uh, made it a little bit more. You have to be there, you have to interact, you have to have that presence because that's where people are. And so I've stepped up a little bit more my LinkedIn experience. I'm sharing articles, I'm interacting with people, sharing videos. um, you know i've 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 wanted to do so. A number of you, you with the shoot the shit. Bill Farquharson has always been somebody who's inspired me with his you know good morning every Monday morning. For years. And now Kelly is doing what's in the mailbox, or what's in your mailbox Wednesdays or whatever.
Yeah.
I had a couple ideas. I wanted to, jump into the video foray of doing some, suggested things or whatever. So I'm working on a little bit of that to post on LinkedIn, just like a video log type thing, quick
Cool.
little 1 minute, couple minute things. So just a quick little snippet. But I'm seeing more and more people in the social networks, especially LinkedIn, which is good. That's, we have to learn how to interact differently now that we can't do the face-to-face as much.
Mm-hmm.
And, as long as you're respecting others, it's a good forum. The only issue, and it's not as much in LinkedIn that I see, but the only issue that I've seen in social networks is, you're not with the person face to face. So, some of that, I don't even know what you call it, but basically you feel more open to say whatever's on your mind, where you might filter yourself.
Yes, you can hide behind your
Normally.
keyboard easier. It's easier,
So
yeah.
some things are said at times that maybe shouldn't be. Like I said, I haven't seen it as much on LinkedIn. It's even worse now here in the United States that election season is coming in. So,
Oh yeah, I see that happening.
Everybody kind of be nice to each other. We're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter which side you're on.
We're still going to have to live with each other the day after. So,
Yep.
But
Yeah, I think we all really need to engage ourselves more in, especially LinkedIn, like you said. It's a conversation. It's a different way of communicating. It's
mm-hmm.
no different than, this here or email or chatting or whatever. It's all kind of all of that in one, and we just need to have that conversation there. It's where you can still build relationships in LinkedIn.
Absolutely. How has your recent engagement boost impacted your business? Has it?
Not really. What it's allowed me to do, and I think a lot of that is two things. I think one, it's COVID still. There's still that fear of, not wanting to spend a lot of money or make that investment because of COVID. Like I said, there have been some, forward-thinking people who have said, we just have to do it. And I also think just the summer slump or summer slowdown has, you know, sales typically are down in the summer for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
COVID or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a strange phenomenon, and I don't know if it's the same thing with other industries, but I've been doing this for quite a few years. Printers during the summer, they slow down, so they have the opportunity to come in and implement a system or start up with a new solution. So that time is there, but because business is down, they're afraid to spend the money. And then when business comes back and the cash is flowing in, they're like, I'm too busy to do it. So it's like, okay, you got to figure out something here where, you always know that, during the summer, business is going to slow down, but it's going to come back come fall or
Yep.
whatever. So make the investment in the summer knowing that the capital is going to come back. So you're ready when it's there and,
Yeah.
you get busy again.
Yeah.
But I think just the interaction, it's built relationships. It's built brand recognition so that when things come back, I think, it'll be better.
What do you think is what's been the most surprising to you? If you look over the last, we touched on a lot of it, but what is the most surprising that you've discovered over the last 5 or 6 months, whether it's about you, your company, social media, customer, anything? What? And you can't say the clown. That's off limits. It's not the clown.
Surprising. The only thing I could come up with is, and I know this sounds silly, but Joanne, you and I knew each other just from, we'd see each other for 5 minutes at a trade show once a year. And it was like, oh, it's Joanne. Hey, get the hug and see you next year. I think the surprising thing is the relationships that I have solidified even more because of COVID. And, even though you've got the social distancing, you're not going out and seeing people, we're seeing people in different ways that we might not have before. So I've built a lot more friendships, closer friendships and relationships through this. And I think it was I don't know if it was surprising, but it was something I wasn't necessarily expecting. Scott Eganhouse, I've known Scott for years. And again,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. You see them at a trade show, and that's it. But
But you can't not see him at a trade show.
right.
I mean, how do you miss a walking cloud?
You have a clown stand in front of him.
Good one.
But it's and again, I think a lot of it is through the press chat thing of we've become all such great friends, and I think the surprising thing about it is there was a time in the printing industry early on where it was like everybody, I'm a printer, and you can't see my stuff, and I don't want to, everything is proprietary, and I'm secretive about things, and now it's like, hey, what are we going to do to help each other out? I think that prevailing attitude, that let's break down that wall of privacy, and now everybody's just like, hey, let's get together, let's do what we can to help each other, build business back up together. That has been surprising as well too.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest contributor to that?
There's some tough questions now, Joanne.
Here, I'll give you what my answer would be, and then to me, I think it's just the ability and the expectation that every conversation will now be either on Zoom or some video format, whereas before it was always over the phone.
Good
now, because we can't see each other live, we must see each other virtually.
Right.
And I think that ability to have face-to-face conversations with people anywhere around the world. Yes, you could have picked up the phone, but most people didn't, unless they needed something or wanted something. So, but now it's like, I'm going to call somebody, I'm actually going to see them.
Right.
So I just found that was what has helped really, that explosion in social selling, that explosion that's happening on LinkedIn and everywhere, on Zoom, on these press calls. I think a lot of it is because of that ability to connect as close to real as possible, albeit virtually.
No, and that
makes sense.
Oh, totally. And I can actually illustrate. You and I had a phone call last week. We were just on the phone, and it's it was a great conversation. I love talking with you, but it's so much different now. Where when I can make a comment to you and I can see you smile, or I can see your reaction or whatever. It makes the interpersonalness behind the conversation so much more intimate. So again, you see the reactions, you see, and even think of it from a sales process too. Nothing beats being face to face with somebody. And,
that's right.
When you make when you give them that price, and all of a sudden you see them.
Yep.
It's like, okay, now I need to know what that objection is. So there's obviously a price. I didn't sell the value enough or whatever. So those little, visual cues that you get are so important, and there is, I've noticed something too, and I don't know if it's a combination of that social thing that I brought up before about how people, you're behind your keyboard, so you can say whatever you want. I don't know if there's a blend of that, but it's a very different experience. Even if you and I were having a conversation face to face right now with next to each other, there's a little bit differentness here in like a Zoom meeting like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know what the psychology behind it is, whether, it is some of that, hey, I'm right there with you, so maybe I could be a little bit more open, or I don't know.
I think part of it is, it's all the senses that come into play, right? We're still very two-dimensional right now, which is, again, goes back to my point of how the ability to provide a tangible experience takes this two-dimensional experience to the next level, right? Imagine if we were together when we both had the same t-shirt on, because we had each received it in a loot bag, so to speak. It just, again, makes us be in the same room without being in the same room.
Right.
Right? kind of, I don't know. It's just,
No, you're
there,
right.
you know, there's so many, I don't know about you, but, you know, I think a lot of people have used the last several months to do a lot of soul searching and introspection and just really look at themselves and decide not only just their business, but at themselves as a human being, and like, okay, what can I do as a person to optimize myself, right? To either be a better person or a better worker, better mother, better parent, better spouse, better sibling, whatever that happens to be. And what does that look like now as compared to what it was? And I don't know. I just think we've opened ourselves up to new ways of thinking and approaching challenges. And I'm excited by that. Some people are hugely fearful because it means change.
Right.
And
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, that's just what we've been through so much change in the last 6 months. It's almost like, okay, we've got to get to some semblance of normal. And I think that is also why so many people are just going back to work or going back to the office, not just because it's open, but because it's time.
Right.
So, you know, how's
No.
that for ending it on a deep note? We got to end it on something funny.
Right. Wow, that was heavy. No, but you are totally right, and I think some of it too is just, at least for me, is, you know, you sit there and you have, you know, especially with a pandemic in place and the uncertaintiness of, you know, hey, you go out grocery shopping and you don't know who you're encountering, and you know, or what you're encountering. So could, you know, going to the grocery store to pick up, you know, some milk or something, like, could you walk away and 2 weeks later end up in a hospital or on a ventilator? So I think some of that sense of reality and mortality has hit some of us, or at least for me, you know, looking at who am I? Because who I am could be very different 2 weeks from now. You know,
Yeah.
so am I the person I want to be, or
Yeah.
need to be, or should be? So that's a phenomenal point. I think you're right. I never would have thought it until you said that.
Oh, well.
Smart person you are, Joe.
I try. I don't know. Again, maybe it's you just brought it out in me today, Joe. You got all my smartness in 45 minutes.
You're good on your own. You don't need me for that.
So tell us where people can find you, email, website, LinkedIn.
Sure. You can find me, joe.kern, Kern, at docketmanager.ca, DOCKET manager.ca. I'm on LinkedIn. Just do a search for Joe Kern. I'll come up. I'm Facebook, Instagram. You know, can catch me pretty much anywhere. You know.
And on Press Chat.
Oh, and on Press Chat. So
hashtag Press Chat. Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, not 3 p.m. as I often thought at the very beginning, and I kept missing them.
And you know, if you want to join, it really, so many people have come to me, even you know, during and after, saying it's the one high point of the week that they look forward to.
Yep.
And it really,
agree.
There's no real structure to it. It's just a bunch of people getting together and talking, and it has been phenomenal. So we'd love to have, you know, as many people as want to come join in. If you want the connection information, just feel free to email me. I'll get you a link in so you can join us as well. You know, tell us about whatever's troubling you or whatever successes you have or ideas. It's really just a way of sharing, you know, the love with each other.
I think that's awesome. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have an awesome day.
You too. I will.
Okay.
Bye. Tomorrow, right? Bye.
Oh, you'll see me tomorrow. I gotta time Scott.
Right. He told me he only needs